Once a giant, always a giant.
Welcome back to All Things Giants. I'm your host, Keith. Today we're just going to be talking about my final thoughts about the 2020 season from the beginning to the end. First, we're going to start out with Daniel Jones. Now, he was the 6th pick last year in last year's draft. He was. So with him being the 6th pick, nobody expected it. Nobody barely watched him coming in because he played for Duke, not really a high television showing type team, but they've get him and reached, and so far he hasn't been what people were hoping for him to be. So my main thing with him was how he went 24 and 12 last year, but the big thing with him was fumbles. Daniel Jones, he reduced the amount of fumbles he had, and I'm not going to say he reduced the turnovers because he did have 10 interceptions, but he did manage the ball a bit better this year, and that was a big thing with him that we needed him to fix. I think he went like 160-something snaps without an interception, and then I think Evan Ingram dropped it. It was something happened. I don't think it was his fault, but he ended up throwing an interception. But he did show that he could have run the ball this year, and that the read options was a piece of his game that we didn't know coming in. I did like that. I just need him to become a bit more accurate, and the side-to-side speed is what I need him to fix a lot. He has to fix it. He just looks so stuck in the pocket, like his feet are cemented into the ground. And that's just not okay. You can't have that when you're a quarterback. You've got to be able to move around, extend plays. I'm very big on that, and how he just hasn't been able to extend plays. But a big part of why Daniel Jones, in a way, regressed year 2 was because of the offensive line. Now, you watched the Chiefs Super Bowl, and you saw what a bad O-line looks like, and you saw what it does to you. The offensive line was I'm not going to say it was very bad this year, because it wasn't. They showed bright spots. There was a lot of things I'm going to cover, and why I enjoyed how the offensive line played at times this year that I can trust a little bit going forward, especially with the new offensive line coach that we signed today. I'm extremely excited about him. He's previously worked with Joe Judge. And a big thing he doesn't do is rotational offensive linemen. That was new to me this year. I haven't been accustomed to watching that. I'm not used to teams doing that. So when I saw that, it was kind of okay, it's there. It's nothing I can do about it. I got to get used to it. But I didn't like it because guys, when I played basketball, and if a coach didn't, if he let some other people stay in or do what they had to do, and then he would take me or flip me in and out for different people, it would take a toll on confidence, and not just that, but momentum too. Once you take a guy out, for example, once they take Pert out, this was his first year. I think it was our third round pick out of I think it was Connecticut, or no, UConn, and him being put in there, you can't keep taking him in and out, because that's going to hurt his momentum. He can't get a feel for the game. That's one thing that everybody needs to do over the course of a game, is get a feel for it. You can't just hop in, give your best, and then hop right back out, and it go like that. You got to let guys get in, get a feel for the game, get a feel for the guys they're going against. Once they get a feel for, if Andrew Thomas was going against Chase Young, and he's like, okay, this is his favorite move, this is his go-to move, I know how to stop it. Matt Pert's not going to know that if you keep switching him and Fleming out in and out of the game. You got to stay with one guy. Will Hernandez and Shane Lemieux. If you didn't want the other, then you just keep one in. The switching in and out, I get it, help with different schemes, but you just got to work to what your guys are strong at. I guarantee you, they're like the top offensive line groups don't switch in and out. I think that's a big reason why this team had the lowest in pass block win rate. Our offensive line was last, dead last. I think it was like 46%. A key reason to that is switching guys in and out, in and out. That's not going to work. With doing that, you're taking away guys' confidence and their momentum from the game, and that gives the defense an advantage because although the energy factor, they'll have the energy because they'll have some type of rest, but the defensive lineman will be able to find the weak spots in a guy who's played 2 snaps versus a guy who's played the entire game. So that's why I want the consistency when it comes to those type of things. Like, guys got to get a feel for the game, especially the young rookie guys. Like when Andrew Thomas and Matt Pert were switching in and out of one game, and in my head I'm just like, Joe Judge, I like you, you're a great coach, but I don't agree with this because it's like not only are you switching one rookie out, but you're switching 2 in and out for each other. So it's like, do I like you or do I like you? Neither of them should have to go for that. What you should do, let Andrew Thomas play either left or right tackle and Matt Pert play either left or right tackle, whichever one they're stronger at. You cannot keep switching them because that affects their game. It doesn't allow for them to play to the best of their ability. If you let Matt Pert stay in the game and let Andrew Thomas stay in the game, let either Will Hernandez or Shane Lemieux stay in the game, then guys will be able to build chemistry with each other. If you're switching in and out, Zeitler's the right guard. He's not going to be able to trust if Fleming or if Pert will get their block. If they're getting switched out in every play or every drive, he's got to get a feel for them. Chemistry on the offensive line is very important. Offensive lines like the Packers and the Colts and the Bucks, they're guys, they're gelling. They have weeks and weeks of knowing if a guy's gonna get their block, what's a guy not good at, what's he good at, what they need to help out on. If a guy's getting switched in and out, yes, he's getting the fatigue factor. That's taking that away, but you're also taking away the momentum, and that's a big thing that you cannot do. You have to understand. You have to allow these guys to play. You have your 5, and you go with your 5. That's all you have to do. But I'm gonna go to the positive side of my offensive line was toward the end of the season they did play better in the run game. There was the Seahawks game when they opened up the run for Wayne Gallman. I was happy about that. I think it was Nick Gates who was just down there looking for a block. I love Nick Gates. Like, he is everything you want in a center. Shout out to Big Blue in the Bronx. I talked to my man Alex. Go to his channel. I'll put it in the description. But when we were talking about it, we talked about Nick Gates, and the one thing we both mentioned was he is always looking to hit somebody. If there's a play where guys, our offensive line was not good when it came to stunts, he would help out with the left or right guard and give them a hit and pancake their guy and make life easier on them. They can't do that if you're switching them every play. You have to let them be cohesive and gel together. If you don't let them do that, that's why our offense is last in pass block win rate. Obviously, you tried it, it didn't work. You've got to switch things up. You had your year, you tried it, Joe Judge, you've got to switch it up. The guy we hired does not do rotational O-linemen. Our past O-lineman coach did. I don't agree with it. And now I hope Joe Judge doesn't overrule this guy and lets him do his thing when it comes to the O-line. Now, we're going to switch over to the defensive side of things. Now, this is where I was most happy this season. Last year, the Giants were piss poor on defense. We let up, I think it was 35 points against the Redskins last year. Now the football team, but the Redskins last year in an overtime win. Our defense is bad. Like, they just, I don't know. I think it was a big part of James Betcher. But rated PG. That's the nickname my father gave him, and I'm running with it because that nickname just rated PG-13 is a real name because he keeps it real on defense, and it's the pros and cons to his scheme of things. And with watching the games this year, he ran a lot of zone, but what that did was it opened him up for a lot of disguises in coverages. He can sit in a cover 2 and jump in a cover 3 and vice versa. And that's what I did like, because it did throw quarterbacks like Russell Wilson off, and it did help our defense and let us get some coverage sacks. But I didn't like it because there were some games, and you can go down the line of we didn't have the personnel of things, and we didn't have the guys to match up with teams to run man, which I can't disagree with, because cornerback 2 is a glaring spot on the defense. Like, if you ask me what's the one spot, I mean, there's really two. To make this defense top 5, honestly, I think it's cornerback 2 and edge. If we can get a dominant edge and a cornerback 2, this defense, in my opinion, can become top 5. Now, we brung in. There's 3 guys I want to highlight this year who just played ridiculously well. We're gonna start off with Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams had 0.5 sacks last year. His 0.5 sack was barely a sack. I think they just gave it to him, but he did play well in the run game. Nobody agreed with trading for him, trading our 3rd rounder for him. He didn't play well. Then we had to franchise tag him. He played excellent this year, but just a complete 180. And I think he played well because he had a switch of schemes. I think he plays better with rated PG-13 rather than James Betcher. And I think that bodes well to PG-13. But I also think it was just because he finally got used to being New York now. He got traded mid-season, so I don't think he was able to just make that complete jump like some guys are. But now he got comfortable, and he was one of the leaders of that defense this year. And with him being that leader, he helped other guys like Dalvin Tomlinson and Dexter Lawrence. Big Sexy, as Giants fans call him. But we're going to move on to the free agency defensive pickups we had. We're going to start out with Blake Martinez. Now, Blake Martinez, a big question mark with him this year. Or when we first picked him up, a lot of people weren't really happy. They were happy with it, but it was just how bad he was in zone coverage, or just in coverage at all. But there wasn't really no signs of that this year, and I think that's because of rated PG-13 and how he was able to disguise his problems and put his better spots in the light. Like, he brung Martinez on some blitz. He had the blitz against the 49ers and the blitz against the Cowboys. He disguised those types of things, and he made them reduce his bad spots when he would get baked on when he was guarding either a tight end or a running back, which is okay. It happens to a lot of linebackers. I like the way he played this year. He was 3rd in total tackles with 151. That was a big part of our defense that we didn't have last year. We weren't able to tackle. He was able to tackle. Now, my favorite guy, James Bradbury. This guy was a locksmith on defense. It got to the point where I didn't even look on his side when we were going against teams. It was the game against Philly. I think it was the 4th and 1. Carson Wentz tried him against a rookie, and Bradbury was like, nah, not over here. And then he had to pick on Allen Robinson, that's when I really clicked, and it was like, this guy's legit. He's not even looking at the ball. Allen Robinson catches it, and he took it from him. And that's when I knew. I was like, oh yeah, we've got our cornerback. The Giants haven't had a number 1 corner in a minute. We missed on Eli Apple. We missed on Prince Amukamara. I'd go as far as to say we haven't had no legit corners since Corey Webster and back to those days. So it just does feel refreshing to get another corner in there and have some guys with some talent. And now that we have a young secondary in Peppers, McKinney, Love, I think we'll probably bring in some secondary either in free agency or in the draft. It's not something we really need to do just for depth. But I did like the way my secondary played this year. Xavier McKinney showed very good potential, and toward the end of the season, I forgot to mention Darnay Holmes. I think he's going to be a great slot corner for us. And then you got Jabril Peppers, Xavier McKinney. One thing I need us to do more is send McKinney off of blitz. That's what he did really well in college. He had I think it was a mean hit against Joe Burrow. We need to start doing that for him more. and we didn't do that enough. Now he did come off of a broken foot, so I can understand not doing that too much. But once he's healthy, I think next year that's what we do. Peppers had a career year, and I think Dave Gettleman did do a very good job when it came to our total defense and bringing them together. Now we're gonna get to Jason Garrett. I'm not the only Giants fan that feels as of this guy needs to go. He was questionable all year, and he just did not do what he had to do. He didn't throw the ball downfield as much as he needed to. Jason Garrett, 31st ranked offense. That says enough. I just think the only reason Jason Garrett has a job in New York is because Daniel Jones would have had 3 new offensive coordinators each year, and that wouldn't have been good for his progression. But if Daniel Jones doesn't progress year 3, it's looking like New York is going to get a complete revamp of new OC, new GM, new QB, and I think it'll be refreshing. Now I spoke about, there's not really much you can say about Jason Garrett, man. We all know he's not good at his job. Hopefully he can figure something out. Hopefully we get the receipt, Kenny Golladay, in free agency. Hopefully he comes to New York. We've been interested in him. I think Jason Garrett likes the 50-50 ball type of guys. And then it's been, rumored that Shep might get released. I doubt it. At most, I see we restructure his contract. But if, and this is a big if, Giants fans, I'm not saying we will, but if we do, that can only mean one thing, that the Giants, because we'll be getting rid of Tate and Shep, which are both slot guys. Shep played better on the outside, as Fireside Giants. I think Rivardo proved that Shep played better on the outside, but not only does he play better, I think he was the best red zone target for this team. He's Daniel Jones' guy. That's who he aims for. You've seen it in the Dallas game. That's who he likes to target. But I think if we did let him go, it could only mean that we be strong. We're all in on Kenny Golladay and all in on getting a receiver of the draft. That's all that can mean. And I wouldn't be mad at it. I would hate to lose Shep. I don't think it'd be good, but if you told me my receiving core would go from Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard, Golden Tate, Dante Pettis to Kenny Golladay, Jalen Waddle, Darius Slayton, and Dante Pettis, I would take it in a heartbeat. And if you're a Giants fan and you disagree with me, I'm sorry. That's how I feel. We're going to move on to Joe Judge. My guy. The Judge is in town. I was one of the guys. Nobody knew who this guy was coming into the year. But his character and how he's built as a man, as a coach, as a leader for this team, I loved every minute of it. I feel as though 100% Joe Judge is the guy for our future, and he is the guy who will coach his team to a Super Bowl. I'm calling it now. He will get us there, Giants fans. It's only a matter of time. This has been my 2020 recap. This is just how I felt about the season, how we're going to look into next season. I already did my off-season review, so I just had to give a recap on how I think about each player. Next video, we're going to talk about my awards for who I think gets what. Offensive MVP, defensive, things like that, Rookie of the Year, things like that. So